Have you ever just stared at your bank account balance and felt that cold, heavy knot forming in your stomach? It's a feeling that, let's be honest, most of us know way too well. Well, this explainer is all about a completely different way to look at our finances, not through that lens of scarcity we're so used to, but through something the source material calls the math of heaven. And right away, the source just gets right to the heart of that feeling. It's not just numbers on a page, is it? It's a real physical weight. That moment your card gets declined, or a bill you totally forgot about shows up in the mail. That feeling is so real. And this whole perspective, it starts by saying, yeah, we see that, we get it. It doesn't just brush it aside. And this feeling, it leads to what the source calls the calculator conversations. Oh, you know the ones. They always seem to happen late at night, right? In that 3 a.m. silence where you're just adding and subtracting and trying to move things around. But the numbers, they just stubbornly refuse to cooperate. It's this frustrating and honestly pretty lonely cycle. And here we get to the core diagnosis of the problem. See, the issue isn't just the numbers themselves, it's the lens we're using to look at them. Just like the slide says, when you look at everything through a lens of scarcity, it distorts your entire reality. It can make help that's literally right around the corner feel like an abandoned promise, and preparation can start to feel like a punishment. You know, that scarcity mindset, it almost always leads to a really painful question we start to ask ourselves. Is this my fault? Is this a reflection of me? Am I failing somehow? Well, the source material just directly takes on this very common and very painful misconception. And this is the central argument right here. It's so direct, so powerful, because it's designed to sever that link between your net worth and your self-worth. The source is so emphatic about this. The state of your bank account does not, and I mean does not, define who you are or what your value is. This slide just illustrates the conflict perfectly. On the left side, you've got what the source calls the world's lie. This idea that if you were truly blessed, money wouldn't be a problem. The numbers would just add up. But then on the right, it presents a deeper truth, that so many of the most beloved figures in these stories walked through really long seasons of having very little, and that wasn't a sign that God was absent. It was a sign of a different kind of presence altogether. Okay, so if our human math isn't the whole story, then what is? Let's dive into the core concept of this whole explainer. This idea of a completely different economic system, one that plays by a totally different set of rules. Now this line, this is a total game changer. It's basically saying we need to put our spreadsheets away, stop trying to make our limited projections work. It's a direct invitation to consider that the source of our provision operates on a logic that is fundamentally completely different from our own. Just look at this comparison for a second. The math of man over on the left. It's all about limits, right? Deficits, what we can calculate, what fits on the spreadsheet. But the math of heaven on the right, it's described with words like multiplication, cascades, overflow. It's a huge shift from a mindset of subtraction and scarcity to one of incredible abundance and expansion. And to make sure this doesn't all sound too abstract, the source points to these really specific stories. And these stories aren't about simple addition, they're about supernatural multiplication. We're talking about oil that just doesn't run out, or finding money in the most bizarre, unexpected places imaginable. These are meant to be tangible examples of this heavenly math in action. Okay, so this is the next logical question, isn't it? It's the big one. If this boundless, overflowing provision is real, then why do we still go through these periods of waiting and struggle? Why doesn't it just show up instantly when we need it? Well, the source has a very specific answer for that. Say, this period of waiting, it's not seen as just an empty pause or some kind of bureaucratic holdup. No, according to this text, it's an active and purposeful phase that has a really, really important function. And here is that crucial reframing. The wait isn't a penalty. It's not because you did something wrong. It's actually presented as a period of training, of development. It's designed to prepare you for what's supposed to come next. So what does that development actually look like? Well, the source argues that a gift, even a huge one, can be overwhelming instead of a blessing if you're not prepared for it. So this waiting period, it's actually building your internal capacity. It's preparing you for expansion. And honestly, it's teaching you a kind of resourcefulness that comfort and ease just never could. All right, so we've looked at the problem, the scarcity mindset. We've talked about this whole new mathematical framework, and we've uncovered the purpose of waiting. So this final section is all about our part in this, how we shift our internal posture so we can actually receive what's being offered. Wow. I mean, what a powerful image, right? That just speaks directly to that feeling of desperation, of trying to force a solution, of holding on so tightly because we're afraid. The source is suggesting that this very posture, which is born out of anxiety, is actually closing us off. And the alternative? It's so beautifully simple. Open your hands. It's a physical and a spiritual shift. It's moving from a posture of desperate demand to one of open reception. It's a conscious move from fear to trust. So, what does it even mean to have open hands? Well, the source defines it as gratitude, specifically being grateful for the daily bread, the small things that are already there. This act of appreciating what you already have, that is presented as the very key that unlocks everything that's to come. So the final instruction isn't to just sit back and passively wait for something to happen. No, it's to move forward, but to do it differently. To walk with a quiet confidence, a new kind of strength that comes from a deep down trust that the path ahead of you has already been prepared and provided for. And this is how the source material ends it all, with this powerful threefold affirmation that brings the whole concept back from economics to identity. The ultimate message isn't really just about money, is it? It's about a sense of belonging, of being deeply cared for, and of being fully, completely supplied. And that is a powerful thought to hold on to long after the calculator has been put away.